Hello, we are live, and I apologize, we're a little bit delayed, and I also, just in advance, my internet connection is not that great, so it might cut out. If anything happens, you know why. And I just wanted to welcome everyone to the Hangout. I'm Zapanta, and I'm coming to you from Costa Rica. Also, don't mind the noises in the background. It can get a little bit loud sometimes from all the animals around here and birds and insects and everything. And I'm really excited to be on this Hangout with Geoffrey and Poe, which I'm going to bring out in a moment. And we were actually having a really good discussion before we went live, so we're going to continue on that a little bit. But I kind of wanted to give you an idea of what this is all about. You know, Pura Vida Project, it's kind of something we started in February. The vision for it is, you know, we preach the internet lifestyle. So Romeo and I, you know, maybe you've seen us in different places, you know, maybe our fan page, we call ourselves the Epic Duo. Well, we put together this vision of the Pura Vida Project, and really what it is, you know, we've been in Costa Rica traveling on and off for over a year and a half. We've been kind of job-free for over 2.5 years, and we have been, you know, learning online marketing and surrounding ourselves with other people that are passionate and really want to go after their dreams, exactly like Geoffrey and Poe. And, you know, Pura Vida Project came together because, if you don't know, Pura Vida is kind of a saying here in Costa Rica, and it kind of means the pure life. And what it means to us, and what it's come to mean to us, is to really come back down to the basics in life, you know, come back down to, like Poe said this earlier, the essence of yourself, you know, and what is it that you really want to do with your life? What is it really that is your passion in life? And, you know, I've had a lot of surprising things on this journey, but what surprised me the most is, you know, coming into it, I knew there was a lot to learn. I came from, you know, different jobs. I jumped around from job to job for many, many years. And I never felt like it was right. And I always felt like I was looking for something. And when I started this journey, there was so much to learn. And there's a lot to learn. And really, being entrepreneurs, this is kind of just a thing that I've accepted for the rest of my life. There's always going to be more to learn. And it's just part of life, right? Part of this is all about change. But what I found is that as I was going, I actually felt like layers were coming off of me. Beliefs, I had all these beliefs that I lived with for so long, and all of a sudden they were all being challenged. And I found that I had to actually break them down and almost, you know, peel away. It's like peeling an onion. And it wasn't so much adding things to myself, it was more like removing. And I've been removing and removing and removing all these things that kind of were ingrained in me from being a kid, from, you know, growing up as a teenager to an adult, all these beliefs that, you know, come from different places, from, you know, my parents, the way I was raised, from society, from, you know, different jobs, bosses, like all these things, teachers. And I really got to find out what it is that I want, you know, what it is that I want to do with my life. And this is it. And it's just crazy because I'm finding that life is actually getting simpler and simpler and simpler. And in my mind, it's like I can focus more, and I can just really put everything, all my attention to what I want, to how I want to live my life, to surrounding myself with people that want the same, you know, that want to go after that passion and that dream. You know, some of them may have suppressed it, and I was that kind of person. I suppressed it for years. And all these people, you know, all these people on different parts of their journey, it's like we've come in contact, and it's just this incredible feeling because I no longer feel like this crazy person living in a world where people are telling me, you know, why don't you just accept your life? You know, well, what is it you want exactly? Like, that's just a pipe dream. Well, it's not, you know, and it's cool to meet other people that believe that you can go after what you want, and that are so, you know, so hungry for it that they're willing to go through these changes. They're willing to break down these beliefs and these barriers that, you know, we all have. And I'm so excited to be able to be in a community of entrepreneurs and, you know, be able to mastermind. You know, if you don't know what it means to mastermind, Maybe you've heard of Napoleon Hill. Well, I'm a huge fan. I read his book. I'm also reading right now The Law of Success in 16 Lessons, which he wrote, which was the original version. A lot of people don't know that. It's the original version of Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is a little bit watered down. But he talked about the mastermind. And the mastermind really is, it's people coming together in harmony with ideas and being able to expand on those ideas and that energy in a harmonious way, in a way that builds up. And that's what we've been able to do, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight on the Hangout. So I'm really excited. Our topic today is really a lot of fun. It's what's your dream? And I've been babbling, so I've talked a lot. I wanted to bring out Geoffrey on the Hangout. If you want to just give a bit of your background and just talk, talk about whatever it is that comes to you.
I'll try to keep it short. As you were talking, I'm there writing notes along the side here of things that I want to touch on. My name is Geoffrey Antoine. I'm from Toronto, and I am currently working in a call center. And for many years, I've been following this belief that, you go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, get a good job, have a career, spend X amount of years in this job that pretty much take you nowhere. I find that the rules are all the same. The rules of conformity. Everyone follows that same path. And right in the middle of it, I said to myself, I'm like, well, I don't really feel good doing this. So I said to myself one day, I said, you know what, I'd much rather work for myself, because I found working for somebody else, you're only building their empire. And I mean, each one of us is our own empire, and if we have to stop and build somebody else's empire, that means there's not enough time for us, because we have to spend 40-odd hours a week building somebody else's, and we have very little time. We might get, 2 weeks to ourselves in a year, and to me that was no fun. So I've seen people, I've hung out with them who have their own jobs and build their own careers, and they're living their life. They're stress-free. They got a really nice glow to themselves, and they're traveling and they're doing this, they're doing that. And I said, you know what, I want to do that. And how do I do that? And going back to what you said, Kat, about Napoleon Hill's work, I mean, I sleep with those books, and as I'm reading them, look, there they are. As I'm reading them, I that one message just keeps coming out, and it's, you become what you think about. And I knew where I was going a year ago, and even 5 years ago. It wasn't in the direction that I wanted to go, and I was beating my head on outside circumstances, blaming everybody for what was wrong with me. And then I stopped and I said, you know what, maybe it's me, maybe it's the way I'm thinking. And then I stopped and I started to question where all this thinking came from, and it's all old beliefs, and it's picked up from the time when we were children. And you remember a time when you were a child when you were carefree, and sleep was sweet. You took naps and you woke up and you were refreshed. You didn't have to get up and do have a list of things you had to do. You just got up and you went. And I wanted that feeling again. And I thought, well, maybe it's in building your own career and having your own say, and building your own business. So I went on an adventure to see, where I could go to do that. And I went to the internet and I started to search and search, and I wasn't getting far in the beginning, because a lot of the opportunities out there on the internet were all I saw was a lot of pictures of people holding a lot of cash like a deck of cards. And that's not what I wanted to get into this for. I mean, yes, we do want to earn some money, but it's not my main priority is to earn money. It's to really just be myself. And that's what I went looking for. Is I went looking for a company that would not only allow me to be myself, but allow me to share that with other people and um, share with people how they can do it themselves. And that's when I read a book called The 4 Hour Work Week. And after I read it, I went online to see if anyone else has read the book, and I wanted to see what they thought. And there was this couple at the very top page of Google. There was this couple from Mississauga, and I said, hey, there's people from Canada who's read this book. I don't know why I was so surprised at the fact that you guys were from Canada. Everywhere I went, everyone was from the United States. But when I found someone from Canada, I was just like, okay, there's someone who lives just not too far from where I live, and there they were, Kat and Romeo. And when I clicked on their video, I looked at how they were living, and not once in their videos were they the couple that had the cash like the deck of cards. They were actually living their life the way they wanted to. And I said, you know what, that's what I want. I want to do what they're doing so that I could live the lifestyle I want. Because I've got a family, I've got a wife, I've got two big boys, and I just want to spend as much time as I can with them. And going to a 9 to 5 and fighting with the companies just to get some vacation time or just to get a day off, depending on what company you're with, is a challenge. So I've had enough of it. So I came and I followed Kat and Romeo, and I hooked on Empower, and I've been here since January. And the discoveries I've made from January until now have been incredible, and they just keep getting better and better. I know the last hangout that I was with is when I first started back in January, and I had sweaters on because it's cold here. I had sweaters on. I had all this hair on my head. Now it's warm, and I'm spending more time outside, and there's a big smile on my face as I walk around, and I'm happy. Because it's the life that I want to live is happening, and it's growing, and it's not stopping because I'm continuing to walk the walk and talk the talk. I know the prosperity that I see everyone else having. I know it will come, and I know that it's a process not to be rushed, and it's happening, and it just feels good. That feeling I had in my solar plexus, that tight feeling, I know everyone on this hangout must have it, is starting to lift, and for me, that's a good sign. And I think that's it. I'll stop for now. I won't hog up the hangout too much. But yeah, it's been a good journey over the last 7 months.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
there's so many things we're gonna go into so many topics just off the things you said, Geoffrey. But I want to bring out Poe. Poe, as you were talking, she's holding up all the books.
Yeah.
This is so funny. Because it just goes to show that we all actually do read the same things, and they have very valuable information. So I'll pass it over to you, Poe.
Hi everyone. As Kat said, yep, this is Poe from Australia. I'm in awe. I resonate completely with what Geoffrey and Kat have been saying. It's so magical to be around people that are so like-minded, that have this concept that it is very much who you become, as opposed to the tangible outcome, which is, yes, sometimes prosperity. It to me is pretty much the icing on the cake, but it isn't the actual cake. As in terms of my journey, wow, it's quite a long journey. I would say something started to happen to me maybe about probably eight years ago, when a friend of mine stopped me in the kitchen of their house and said to me, "Ho, what is it that you really like? I mean, I know who you are, essentially. Well, I think I kind of know who you are, but what is it that you really love?" And that pretty much stopped me in my tracks, because I thought, he's so got a point, and actually he's kind of uncovered a little bit of the fraudster that I thought I was becoming. Like, I was very much engaged in what everyone else was doing and kind of trying to camouflage myself within what they were doing, but I wasn't fully being the authentic me. And so, over that period, I made a decision to really spend that time reflecting and finding out, okay, what's going on? Who am I really, and what is it that I really enjoy? And lo and behold, it's connected to a passion that I had when I was 12 years old. I mean, I absolutely loved fashion when I was a young kid, but I kind of dismissed it and decided that, hey, look, everyone lives a pretty standard life. They go to university, they go sit in the office. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. And so I went down that path, and I worked in the corporate field for 10 years, but a series of events lined up nicely where I started pursuing my dreams. I went and studied fashion. I even went to Milan to study. Like, I just started to do bigger and bigger things that were so completely out of my comfort zone. I mean, I would say probably, 6 years ago, the thought of traveling by myself to a foreign country, I mean, that would have been unheard of. But I did that, and slowly, I started to chip away at myself, and I guess the biggest milestone was in January 2012, where I said, screw it, I'm quitting my job. Okay, there's no real concrete plan per se, but screw it, I'm gonna quit. I mean, I don't have a partner, I don't have kids, I don't have a mortgage, so why not just screw it? And so I spent a lot of the last 2 years traveling quite a bit. I thought, I mean, life is short, so what do I like doing? I like traveling. What else do I like to do? I like treasure hunting, and I like finding out about up-and-coming, really cool designers that do really cool, unique things, and I wanted to find out about them, and I wanted to support them and blog about them. So that's what I did. It may sound awfully glamorous and wonderful, and it was, but what Kat and I discussed before is that when you declare to the universe that you're ready to make some big changes in your life, boy, does the universe really prep you to be that person that is ready for those opportunities. And I would say probably the last year in particular has been like a cyclone. And I would say every aspect of my life has been severely tested and pushed me to the absolute brinks, and sometimes to the absolute brinks of despair. However, the shining light does always come. I mean, I've had several seemingly disastrous moments, but every single time something wonderful resulted out of it. So for me, my longer term goal is to start some kind of online fashion marketplace. I'm really, really big on promoting lesser known designers and helping them make a living out of their passion. So that's my longer term goal. But, oh gosh, I could speak forever about this, but I have been searching and searching. I knew what my dream was and what I really wanted, but I didn't know what the how was. What is the method? What was the icing? What was the vehicle that was going to take me there that completely resonated? I mean, I thought it was, okay, I'll write some kind of elaborate business plan and some magical investor will come along and help me. But no, it didn't turn out that way. And in January, in fact, some seemingly random girl messages me on Facebook just to say hi and that she liked my cover photo. And when she messaged me, I was in Canada at the time, I thought to myself, there's something about this girl, but I don't know what it fully is all about yet. That girl, that woman, happens to be Kat. And so I think for months we would occasionally go back and forth, and we discovered we had a lot in common and that we were very familiar to each other. And we've compared notes. It seems as though we went through our own individual journeys and learnings over the last few months, and it just so happens the last few weeks we reconnected again, and I knew I was after something. I was after the how. I've got the why down pat, I think, and that's still expanding, but I needed the how. And I thought, okay, I'll blog, and Kat gave me excellent advice about how to market myself, but I knew I wasn't satisfied. There was more. And so, yeah, to cut a long story short, I pretty much chased her down. And yeah, she gave me a ton of information, and yeah, I found out about Empower, and it resonated with me immediately. And I thought, this is these Kat, Romeo, these are the people that I want to join, that are really going after what they want and are living the dream. And so I did it. And so I've been in Empower for a few days now. And wow, geez, I can barely sleep because I'm so focused on this stuff. It's like, yay, the universe has finally delivered me the house. So I'm ready, universe. I'm allowing, and I'm going to go after it. So that's what I've been doing for the last few days, going after it. So I think my final point that I want to make, and then I'll pass it over to Kat and Geoffrey, is that you probably, if we have more of these hangouts and we happen to talk more about these sorts of topics about dreams, it may sound like it's airy-fairy, mumbo jumbo, woo woo, yogi bogi stuff, but I can guarantee you, supposedly yogi bogi stuff about having clarity about what you want and putting the feelings behind it, the happy, the feeling good behind what it is you want, that is so, so, so important, because if you're not clear on that, when the first hurdle comes, it's likely a lot of people will either quit or action will start falling away. So that's probably my key thing. Okay, over to you, Kat and Geoffrey.
Well, again, there's so many things. Like, we could go on so many tangents here. Like, I mean, the whole point of this hangout is to talk about what's your dream, right? And just like with what Geoffrey and Poe have shared, it's pretty clear that they're very clear on what they want, right? And exactly what Poe just said, you know, that's the most important thing. And a lot of the time, I love all the different words you use to describe it. Woo-woo. People think that way, right? They think, oh, you know, maybe talking about personal development or talking about dreams or talking about your thoughts, it's not going to do anything. It's not, because it's not tangible. It's not an action, right? And it's funny because there's a combination. There's a fine combination of things. And, you know, the wording that my screen is covered in bugs. The wording that the Poe was using, you know, she kept saying that she was looking for the how, and she was looking for the how, but her why was very clear. And, you know, the one thing that I found is, you know, where Romeo and I were 2.5 years ago, we had no idea how. We had no idea how. You know, we read the 4-Hour Work Week, and it was just like this like huge eye-opener. All we knew was that we had to change things. We knew that, you know, we had these dreams, and we knew we wanted to go for them. We didn't really know much else, right? And we went on full faith. Like there's this quote, you know, entrepreneurs jump and then build their wings on the way down. And that's exactly what we did, you know. We didn't know what we were going to do. And we sort of, the funny thing is when you really set out and you make a decision, and it's one of those decisions where it just kind of rocks your whole being, where you know that you're going for it. Like there's nothing else. There's no plan B. There's nothing else. It's just it. You know that you want it. You know that you're going to keep going for it. Nothing can stop you. Nothing. And I found that, you know, we do stop ourselves sometimes, but it's not permanent. It's temporary. And those stops sometimes are important to us because they help us get to that next level. But really, there's, you know, a person that makes that kind of decision where they know they just, something has to change, and they go for it, then I really believe that their dream is inevitable. It is inevitable. And it's just, I find myself in this strange position because, you know, time just keeps passing for Romeo and I, you know, and I'm not going to say it was easy. It was not easy. We've had to hustle. We've had to make some really hard decisions. We were put in situations that, you know, maybe other people would have quit. I know other people would have quit. They would have given up. And we were in situations like that over and over and over again. You know, when Romeo quit his job, we had a condo, right? We were living in Toronto, like in Mississauga, like Geoffrey mentioned, and we were in debt, and we had really no money. Like it was really just paycheck to paycheck for us. And I've never gotten into this much detail before, but really what we did is we didn't tell anyone. Like no one in our family knew what we were doing. And Romeo quit his job. He gave notice, but his boss didn't believe him. And then he came in on the day he said he was going to quit, and he quit. And then we're like, it was really like the biggest oh shit moment in our life, because we're like, we don't know what's going to happen. And we're like, okay, well, what can we do? We're in this situation, what can we do? So we're like, well, we're going to sell our stuff, and we're going to sell our condo, and we hope that it'll sell, and we hope that we can get the money from it so that we can buy ourselves some time to figure it all out. That was our plan. But, you know, so many things could have gone wrong with that plan, because on top of that, we were also crazy enough to think, you know, we're also going to renovate our condo so that we can flip it for more, because we're just crazy enough to do that. And, you know, for 2 weeks, we did this, and we didn't tell anyone. Like, even his family, Romeo's family, went to visit him at work. He worked at a fast food place, and he wasn't there. So they assumed we had gone on a vacation or something, because we just weren't around. And we proceeded to sell our stuff. Like, we were selling our stuff, we were selling our furniture, we were selling what we had, and we were just kind of living off of this money. And somehow we made it 3 months renovating our condo, and we sold our place. But I know that in any of those moments, you know, when we told our family, they were just like, what the hell are you doing? You know, you're 30, you know, don't you want to start a family? Don't you want to settle down? Don't you want to buy a house? Don't you, you know, like, you have jobs. Like, I was working as a personal trainer. It was kind of building a little business. But Romeo had been at his job for like 11 years. And they just looked at us like we're crazy. Like, we just lost it. Like, we were having some midlife crisis early. And really, like, there was no one around us that said, you can do this. No one. It was just me and him. And really, like, at that time, we separated ourselves, and we would fight because we didn't know what was going to happen. We were like, are we crazy? Like, have we just lost it? Like, what the hell are we doing? We don't know anyone that's done anything like this. We don't really know anyone that's followed their dream, right? Except for this guy that wrote this book that we never met. And that's how it's been, and it's like we've kind of kept going. And the funny thing is, as we kept going, somehow things would always work out. Things would always come together. Whatever we needed, if we really needed something, that resource would present itself. And this is why that why within us to go for our dream has to be strong. And when you tap into that, the more you tap into that, the more passion you actually develop, and the more passion, and it just builds and builds. And it's like, you know, I've heard this one way of describing it where, you know, your dream is like the sun, right? It's always there. It's always in the distance. It's always shining on you. You don't always have to think about it, but you know it's there. You feel it. And you don't have to focus on it. It's just, it grows strong, and it's like, you know, you can feel its rays. It makes you feel warm. It makes you feel alive, right? And then before that is your chief aim, you know, kind of like your goal, your closer goal that you're working towards, whether it's, you know, making money or whatever it is that you need. Like, you need that to happen. It's like a next goal. And then before that is the next logical step. And it's like it's like this like lining up where the sun is in the background, and then your definite chief aim, and then your next logical step. And you can see through the two to the sun. The sun is always there. It's always shining. It's always pulling you towards it. But you don't have to think about it. Really, all you need to focus on is what is directly in front of you. What is it that's in front of you that you can take action on? And that's it. And you just keep going. And your next logical step changes, and you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and the next thing you know, you've hit your chief aim, and you get a new one, and you build another goal, a bigger goal, and then you keep taking that next logical step, that next logical step, that next logical step, and then you hit that goal, and then it just keeps going, you know. And I've seen it happen in my life. It's undeniable. It's just crazy because we keep hitting our goals. You know, it was harder to do it when we first started because we didn't know, right? No one could tell us, yeah, no one could tell us this. No one would say, you know, yeah, you'll make it. You know, you'll be okay. No one told us that. We had to just kind of have this weird faith in things, and we sort of just, you know, honestly, we considered every scenario. We considered worst case scenario, and we're like, you know, if worst case scenario happens, it'll still be okay, right? But what would happen is always better than the best case scenario. I mean, imagine that. There's one thing that Tim Ferriss wrote in the 4-Hour Workweek where he's like, you know, a lot of people think of the worst case scenario always, and they don't really give enough time and attention to the best case scenario. And if you really sit down, you know, whatever situation you're in right now and whatever part of your journey you're at, if you can sit down and write out everything, you know, write out what is the worst case scenario, what is the next best case, what is the next best case, and you kind of get to this ultimate, really your dream kind of thing, right? Well, we did that, and the chances of the worst case happening is always, you know, like 20% or 30%, right? And those things never happened. And the chances for the better things to happen is always higher. And a crazy thing is that whatever happened in our life always turned out even better. And there's this funny thing that happens because as you keep going, you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, you kind of access these belief systems that you have to keep breaking down and breaking down. It's because your mind expands and your dream expands. And as you go, you literally cannot go back. You cannot contract back. You cannot go backwards. It is impossible. It's like physically impossible. So as you keep going, it's like the possibilities get bigger and bigger and bigger. Your dream gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you just keep hitting different goals. And as long as you keep going, it's just, like I said, it's inevitable. And it's this amazing thing. And, you know, half of it is, when I started, we didn't, like I keep saying, right, we didn't have people around us. And that's a really huge factor. Because if maybe we had someone telling us, you can do it. You know, it's fine. You'll be fine. Just keep going. Maybe it would have taken a lot of the stress out of it for us because there was a lot of stress, right? And now it's like we went online and we found Empower also like about 6 or 7 months into this whole thing. And ever since then, it's been people telling us, when are you going to hit your next goal? And instead of being surrounded by people looking at us like we're crazy, now we're surrounded by people that are heading towards their dream, and also people that have hit these incredible goals that we haven't reached yet. And they're like, come on, what are you waiting for? Keep going. What's stopping you? Like, face whatever's stopping you and just keep going. I mean, imagine that kind of support, imagine that kind of community that is just, it's like this other kind of realness, this honesty, this authenticity. It's just so genuine. And I've always been that kind of person already. It's just that I needed different kinds of people around me that appreciated that and wanted the same, So again, I'm gonna get off my soapbox because I could talk forever. But cut in. I know I can kind of feel Geoffrey and Poe, and cut in, Geoffrey, because I have a feeling you have things to say.
I've been typing in my text note here ever since we started, and one of the most important points that I have here is that point that we all experience at the beginning of our journey, is that click here button. Or, I mean, it could be anything, but for me, it started with the click here button. And once I clicked, that buzzing in my body started to go off. Like and the first question that came to mind is like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Is this, where is this going to take me? Because it's something that's outside of our comfort zone. And that place outside of our comfort zone is actually us returning to that true feeling nature that we were at when we were kids. Because when we were kids, we were constantly buzzing, and our parents were constantly fighting to keep us, keep us from exploding pretty much. I mean, nowadays, they're putting kids on medication just to bring that down, but that's where everybody should be, is at that height where their body is constantly buzzing. And when we dumb those feelings down, it just puts stress on the body. And once that happens, I'm not a medical expert, but I've read this, that wall around our DNA strand, it's when there's stress on the body and that breaks, that's where the cancer is formed. And feeling our feelings is cancer prevention. And by doing something that's outside of our comfort zone, like journeying into something new, and just living the life that we want to live, full of excitement and joy, and just being who we really are, like that person that person we are in our bedrooms, or the person we are in the shower, singing in the shower, or the person we are when we're alone. That's the person we need to bring to the world, and just live free, and just enjoy this ride. Because I've given it some thought, and I believe it's just one of those questions in life that the only way we'll find the answer is when we cross over to the next side. Is, yes, we have our things that we believe in. Everyone has a religion that we believe in, but that being, or that God that we pray to, somebody created him, and where did he come from? And it just keeps going further and further back, and I don't think we'll find the answer until we cross over. And I believe we're here for a reason. This is either a test or an experiment or whatever, but we weren't meant to live like all locked up and stressed. We are to live relaxed, open. A quick story, my youngest son is actually in a Taekwondo camp, and we went to a water park the other day, and they have this slide. I don't know if you guys Wild Water Kingdom. There's this
Yeah,
big slide. You just slide it on it, and it just shoots you down. For
yeah.
years, I've been terrified to go on this thing, and our son Julian, he's 11 years old, and he gives us this seal of approval when he goes, like, he does this little thing, and that way we know that it's safe to go on. So I went on, and my first time I went on, I was tense. And when I went down, I didn't get to experience it the way I should have experienced because I was tense. So I went up, I said, you know what, that wasn't so bad. I went up, and then I sat back down on it again, and this time it was almost as if I went limp. I just totally relaxed. I went limp, and then I fell. And then there was that period of weightlessness that happens, and then you get those butterflies in your stomach. That was an indicator to me that I was alive. And that is what I want to experience on a constant basis. That's what I want to experience. I don't get that going from the 9 to 5. I don't get that doing things that I don't want to do or following the silly rules of conformity that everybody's been following. You know, you just have to follow your heart and your solar plexus. The for in Napoleon Hill's book, The Law of Success, when you what is that chapter? He talks about the vagus nerve and how it runs from the brain and it goes down and it wraps around all the organs there. That is that feeling of aliveness. That section there. That's where we know we're alive, when that goes off. Once that goes off and we start feeling all this weird sensation, you know, you walk down the street, you meet somebody new, you make eye contact with them, and you get that butterfly in the stomach, that's when you should act. That was when you're most alive. And coming to Empower, I mean, I've read a lot of the self-help books and all that, but Empower changed that for me, because now not only was I learning about myself, it actually really pushed me to learn more about myself and learn how I can share that with other people so that other people can feel the same way that I was feeling. You know, I mean, it comes and goes, but that's part of the process right now, because we're all still in the, you know, in the beginning stages of reclaiming that life that we had when we were kids. I mean, we've lived it for, you know, many years now. We've followed the rules of conformity, and now that we've decided to go back against the grain now, it's going to take some time for us to really get that feeling back on a consistent basis. But as long as we keep taking action, which is the motto here at Empower Network, is just take massive action and continue, and just get out of the way of how it's going to happen and just let it happen. It will happen, and we will get to that point where we will be constantly having those butterflies well, just that constant buzzing in our body telling us that, yes, this is how you should be living. This is being alive. This is it. So that's what I'm most excited about here, and Empower, and just being in good hands with you, Kat, Romeo. I mean, I was on the line with Romeo last night, and I was, you know, just whenever I get on the line with him, I just have so many questions for him. You know, you know, he was saying that he was going to sleep, and I was afraid that I put him to sleep on the line with me. But you know, there's just so much information that I've received from in Power, just being here from the last 7 months, and so much that I'm still going through, and I've just have so many questions. But I've realized that all the questions that I have, and when I reach out to you guys, the moment I hit send with that question, the answer comes to me, because I know this stuff. I know this. We were born, you know, pre-programmed with these answers in us. We just have to just be still, quiet, and then the answer will come to us. So
That's awesome.
that's my rant for the next 5 minutes. I'll be back.
So I saw Poe smiling really big, so I know you have things to say.
Oh, well, I just thought it was oh gosh, I'm just getting so excited. And you were talking about that buzzing feeling. That's exactly how I feel. And I got that leading up to me joining Empower as well. Wow. But I just wanted to say that I think it's absolutely amazing how Empower has a system in place to get you to that place of thinking about your dreams, your vision, where you want to go. And they do talk about reading books every day, listening to audio, as well as taking those massive actions. And they've got a plethora of information about how to market. But if anyone out there has any hesitations about like why the heck do I have to read every day? Why the heck do I have to, listen to all these audios? It's all part of the process to get you back to where you were in childhood, just like what Geoffrey was saying before. We've got all these programs in our brain running since childhood, and we've got many memories or examples or conclusions that we may have made that we weren't good enough. Other people are right, I am wrong, I need to conform. You've got these programs probably running 24/7, and it's about putting new programs in your brain and making that a norm in which upliftment, fulfilling dreams, being your authentic self, finding your true essence, that is actually the true norm. And so I just think it's wonderful that Empower promotes that side of it too, because it's one big, wonderful package. So on that note, over to Kat. I think we've got the next few minutes left.
Yeah, we have a few minutes. I just wanted to say I love when you were describing the slide, the water slide, Geoffrey. I've seen it. I've seen people go off and it looks like they're flying. And I'm like, I would be terrified. But definitely that feeling is just incredible. And I feel it too. The energy is just like crazy. Well, I think we could keep going for hours and hours, but I think we're going to have, a lot of really awesome topics to talk about. We're going to keep these hangouts every week, at this time. I don't know what time it is Eastern anymore. I'm just going to say 6 p.m. Central. I don't know.
It's 5 to 9 over on our end here.
5 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay. But is that EST or EDT? In Toronto.
I don't know. It's just time to me. It's just,
And then it's funny because Poe's on Australia, so she just woke up, so it's like morning for her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's 12 hours different from Toronto.
Wow. So you're at 9 o'clock in the morning then.
Yes. Yep.
Oh boy, I don't know if I could do that. Well, I mean, I've got boys, so they wake me up. They wake us up pretty early in the morning with their noise and with their clanging, and
It's just funny because we're kind of all over the world.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the cool part is that we're everywhere, and there are people right now, and I'm sure there are people on this hangout right now. Crying to reclaim that freedom again, and there's something that drew them here, and it's the universe. It's that divine, or whatever you want to call it. They set it out. They asked the question: is like, how can I get back to that place? Who can help me, or whatever question they asked, and whatever it was, it brought you here, and here we are. We're here. We exist, and we are fighting against the grains of conformity, because there's nothing in the rule book that says you have to do it this way. I mean, when you break the rules and you go against it and you do your own thing, yes, there will be criticism. Yes, there will be. If you, I love Napoleon Hill's book, The Six Ghosts of Fear. There's that fear of loss of love. There's the fear of criticism. We'll all experience that. And to get back to that feeling place, you cannot let those things get in your way. You cannot let those people get in your way. And you know, you don't want to be, you know, bad and nasty to them. Say, look, okay, I understand what you're saying, but this is me. This is for me. And, you know, I'm done with putting other people ahead of myself, because it's just putting more stress. And where that stress comes from is just your subconscious mind saying, hey, this is not how it should be done. You know, you need to go back and check yourself and live the life that you want to live, because, you know, I'm the subconscious. I wasn't designed to live this way. I was designed to give you what you want, and you just need to relax and let go and let me take care of the rest. But if you're holding on to stresses and you're doing other things to please other people, you're not allowing that inner part of you, which I'm reading Psycho-Cybernetics right now. It's that that guided missile part of you that hones in on your goal. You can't get in the way. You know, you just have to let go and trust that your mind will give you what you want. And those people, everyone here on this Hangout, that's what brought you here, is that your inner self coming here and finding us, and it wants to lock arms with us, you know, or link souls, or link beings, because really at the end of it all, I believe we've all come from the same place. We are all the same being. We're all made of the same stuff, and this vessel that we're in is just a temporary stop. You know, it's like, I mean, I like to look at everything now. We're here renting everything. We're renting everything. Everything is borrowed. You know, it will be taken away from us eventually. So why not just, you know, live it the way you want to live it now, and, you know, give it back when it's done, you know? So yeah, so, you know, if you're on the fence about, you know, taking matters in your hands, I understand. We've all been there before. But once you click a button or make a decision, stick with the decision all the way through, and the goal, the vision that you have in your mind will come to pass. And all those interruptions, you know, they call it, what is that silly word? They call it failure. Failure is just, it's just your mind saying, oh, that's not it. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. So you just have to keep going and just trust that your mind will give it for you.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's a really great book too. That's like on the top of my list.
I can't put it down. Yeah.
I know. We should do like a book review or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should do a book club.
Yeah.
Network book club.
I think I tried a few times and it just didn't pan out, but maybe this time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're kind of closing in on an hour, so I don't know if Poe, do you have anything to add?
All I have to add is go for your dreams. Just go for it, feel good, and just keep going and never quitting. That's as succinct as I can get it.
Yeah.
I love it. I know, like, we could keep going, but this is a really great place to start. So, you know, if you've been watching this, the name of the Hangout is What's Your Dream? And that's where everything starts. You know, it all starts with your dream. It all starts with what you want. And it's really just being able to sit down and to be honest with yourself, to be able to sit down and ask yourself, what do I want? You know, I avoided that question for years, and it wasn't until I started to ask it that things started to change, that things started to come into my life. And, you know, once that happens, it's just, you know, like Geoffrey was saying, it's just massive action. It's just going for it, right? But it all begins with that question. So I'm going to leave you with that question. What's your dream? So Kat Zapanta signing out. Geoffrey, Poe, thank you for coming on the panel. It's going to be really awesome. You know, we're going to keep doing these Hangouts every week, and I'm not sure the topic next week, but I know it's going to rock. So thank you, everyone. Pura Vida. Bye-bye.